Hello to all my story lovers. Welcome back in Storytime channel. Today's story name is A Sheep on the Land, written by the great Sudha Murty. Now let's go to the story. A long time ago, there lived a king who ruled a great and big kingdom. Since he was a powerful king, he always got what he wanted. After some time, he got bored and thought, I want to own something unusual. One day, while looking out to sea, he saw ships sailing. He wondered, why not own a ship that sails on land? No one has ever thought of this. Excited about his idea, he made an announcement all over the kingdom. Whoever can make me a ship that sails on land will be awarded a royal position in the court. People laughed. How can that ever happen? They said, a ship by default sails only on water. There was a carpenter in the kingdom who lived near the woods. He had three intelligent sons. He asked them, why don't you try and work on something that looks like a ship but works on land? Early the next morning, the first son, Kiran, carried some food in a box and set out towards the forest. He came across a fine teakwood tree. He chopped it down and began working on creating a ship. Once it was time for breakfast, he opened his box. A bumblebee approached him and said, I used to live on this teakwood tree. You have cut the tree down and I don't have a home anymore. I am starving. Will you share your meal with me? Kiran refused. I am sorry, but I don't have much to share with you right now. I have much work to do and I need the energy. What are you building? Asked the bumblebee. I am making wooden ladles for the king, said the Kiran, since he didn't want to tell her the truth. Oh, wooden ladles for the king, repeated the bumblebee and flew away. After breakfast, Kiran kept cutting the wood and everything came out in the shape of the wooden ladles. He tried until evening but couldn't make anything other than ladles. Disappointed, he came back home. The carpenter asked anxiously, did you manage to make anything? No, father, I couldn't find a suitable tree. The trees were too small and they were fit only for wooden ladles. Early the next morning, the second son, Sandeep, carried some food in a box and set out towards the forest. He came across a fine teakwood tree. He chopped it down and began working on creating a ship. Once it was time for breakfast, he opened his box. A bumblebee approached him and said, I used to live on this teakwood tree. You have cut tree down and I don't have a home anymore. I am starving. Will you share your meal with me? Sandeep refused. I am sorry, but I don't have much to share with you right now. I have much work to do and I need the energy. What are you building? Asked the bumblebee. I am making wooden plates for the king, said Sandeep, since he didn't want to tell her the truth. Oh, wooden plates for the king? Repeated the bumblebee and flew away. After breakfast, Sandeep kept cutting the wood and everything came out in the shape of wooden plates. He tried until evening but couldn't make anything other than plates. Disappointed, he came back home. The carpenter asked anxiously, did you manage to make anything? No, father, I couldn't find a suitable tree. The trees were too small and they were fit only for wooden plates. Early the next morning, the third son, Vishnu, carried some food in a box and set out towards the forest. He came across a fine teakwood tree. Vishnu stood and prayed to the tree. He said, I must cut you down for a special project for the king. I am sorry that this will interfere with the life that you have and the living things that surround you. Please forgive me. I'll plant 20 other trees to compensate for your loss. Saying this, Vishnu chopped the tree down and began working on creating a sheep. Once it was time for breakfast, he opened his box. A bumblebee approached him and said, I used to live on this teakwood tree. You have cut the tree down and I don't have home anymore. I am starving. Will you share your meal with me? Of course, said Vishnu. In fact, I must feed you since you have lost your home because of me. Come, let us share. Though the bumblebee was small, she ate a lot. After she was full, she said, Come, I will also help you. But what are you building? I want to make a ship for the king that can sail on land. Oh, a ship for the king that can sail on land, repeated the bumblebee and stay with him. After breakfast, Vishnu continued to cut the wood. The bumblebee helped him, and everything came out in unusual shapes. At lunch, the bumblebee and Vishnu shared the food. They immediately got back to work, and soon it was evening and the ship was ready. The decorations and the interior furniture were also all done. He thanked the bumblebee for her help and began sailing on the road. On the way, he saw a man drinking water directly from a river. What's the matter? Why are you drinking so much water? I am extremely thirsty. No matter how much I drink, it's not enough. It is torturous. Come and join me here on the ship. I am going to hand this over to the king and I will request him to quench your thirst, said Vishnu, and the man agreed. They sailed further and saw a man sitting and eating a big pile of apples. What are you doing? Vishnu asked. I am famished. No amount of food can satisfy me. It is excruciating. Come and join us here on the ship. I am going to hand this over to the king and I will request him to give you food until you have eaten your fill, said Vishnu, and the man agreed. The men sailed further and saw a strong man carrying a huge load of wood on his back. What are you doing? Vishnu asked. I have a stepmother who doesn't treat me well. Unless I bring this much wood home every day, it's exhausting. I just want to earn some money to take care of myself. Come and join us here on the ship. I am going to hand this over to the king and I will request him to help you, said Vishnu, and the man agreed. The men sailed further and saw a man sitting and feeding numerous dogs and cats. What are you doing? Vishnu asked. I don't have any skills. Whatever I manage to earn, I use it to buy food and feed it to these trays. Come and join us here on the ship. I am going to hand this over to the king and I will request him to help you take care of strays, said Vishnu, and the man agreed. When the 5 men reached the capital, the king came to see the ship. He was joyous and extremely pleased. Not only was it a sailing ship, but the decor was also much better than his palace. He took a tour of ship and saw how it worked and finally met Vishnu, the carpenter's son. Vishnu wore regular clothing and so did his friends. The king thought, how can I give a royal position to this ordinary man? I will test him first. So he said, Vishnu, I want to award you the royal position, but I have some conditions. Vishnu nodded. The king pointed to a big pond of water and said, this must be empty by tomorrow morning. He pointed to a big pile of bread and said, this must be eaten by tomorrow morning. He pointed to a group of trees and said, all these must be cut into pieces by tomorrow morning. He pointed to a big playground and said, this must be full of cats and dogs by tomorrow morning. Though it wasn't part of contract or the announcement that was made, Vishnu smiled and said, I will try to complete the task, sir. The king left Vishnu and his friends and went back to his duties for the day. Vishnu's friend turned to him and said, we can do all these things for you. Wait and watch. The thirsty man drank all the water from the pond and quenched his thirst. The hungry man ate all the bread and satisfied his hunger. The strong man cut the wood in no time and realized that he could make enough money by himself and didn't need to go back to his stepmother. The kind man whistled and called all his dogs and cat friends, filling the playground with minutes. The next day, when the king came, all the tasks were completed and done well. Vishnu and his friends stood nearby. The king realized that it is not the appearance or the clothing that matters, but the skill and the talent of a person. I will be honored to have all of you in my court. The 5 of you will be given royal position. You will be my trusted advisor and rewarded handsomely for your work in the court and the kingdom. This is how Vishnu made his father proud and made new friends who would stay with him for a lifetime. This is the end of the story. Do you like it? Then comment it and subscribe our channel. Bye bye.